Have you ever wondered why some people work harder and harder yet stay broke, while others barely seem to lift a finger and keep getting richer? Why are some countries swimming in wealth while others can't even feed their people? These sound like massive questions, but the answers are actually hidden inside a surprisingly simple story. Today, let's talk about a book called How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes. By Peter Schiff and Andrew Schiff, they use a fable set on a tiny deserted island to explain the core logic of economics in the most crystal clear way possible. Whether or not you've ever studied economics, no matter what you do for a living, after hearing this story, the way you think about money, spending, and investing might never be the same. Here's how the story begins. On a small island live three guys, Abel, Baker, and Charlie. There is no grocery store on this island, no delivery apps, definitely no luxury goods. The entire food supply comes from one single source, fish. And to make matters worse, they don't even have basic fishing tools. Every day, their survival strategy is to jump into the water and wrestle fish with their bare hands. Can you picture that? Catching fish bare-handed. And after an entire day of exhausting effort, each person can only manage to catch one fish, just enough to survive for one day, zero surplus. So their daily routine is an endless loop. Wake up, catch fish, eat fish, pass out, repeat. Every ounce of energy goes into simply staying alive. Forget about progress. They don't even have room to breathe. But humans are fundamentally different from animals. One night, Abel is lying on the beach staring up at the stars, and a thought suddenly hits him. Is this really all my life is going to be? He wants to make some decent clothes, build a shelter that can actually keep out the wind and rain, maybe even create some art someday. But reality is staring him in the face. Just filling his stomach every day already consumes all of his time and energy. Where's the room for anything else? That is when a spark goes off in Abel's mind. He thinks of something, a fishing net. If he could weave a net, his fishing efficiency would skyrocket. A net covers way more area than two hands, and once a fish gets caught in it, there is no escape. With this tool, he wouldn't have to spend all day in the water anymore. The time he saves could go toward doing other things. The next day, Baker and Charlie notice that Abel isn't in the water fishing. Instead, he is sitting on the beach weaving palm fibers together. Baker walks over and asks what on earth he is doing. Abel excitedly explains that he is building a new fishing tool, and if it works, catching fish will be so much easier from now on. Charlie overhears, rolls his eyes, and decides. He throws out one line before walking away. If that thing doesn't work, don't come crying to me for fish. You won't get a single bite. But Abel doesn't waver. He goes hungry the entire day, spending every hour weaving, and by the end of it, he has produced a crude but functional fishing net. This one seemingly small act actually contains a profoundly important principle in economics. We can break it down into two key concepts: delayed consumption and risk. Let's start with delayed consumption. To weave this net, Abel had to give up an entire day of fishing, which means he came up completely empty that day. It is not that he didn't want to eat. He was just as hungry as Baker and Charlie, just as desperate for food. But he made a conscious choice to endure the deprivation of the present, sacrificing today's meal for the chance at a bigger payoff tomorrow. Now, risk-taking. Before Abel even started, he had absolutely no guarantee the net would work. What if he spent the whole day weaving and the thing fell apart the moment it hit the water? Then he would have gone hungry for nothing, wasted precious energy and time, and been left with nothing but a pile of useless fibers and an empty stomach. That outcome was entirely possible. But he chose to take the gamble anyway. This is the logic behind how capital is born. Abel sacrificed his current consumption, endured the agony of uncertainty, and created a tool that could boost his productivity. That fishing net was the island's very first piece of capital. Abel can now catch 2 fish a day. His productivity literally doubled overnight. He eats one and has one left over. That extra fish has a name we all know in economics: savings. Don't underestimate that one extra fish. It opened a door that had never existed before. Because now, with savings, Abel's life went from no choice to I have options. He suddenly had at least 4 paths in front of him. Path 1, the safest, store the fish for later. No gain, no loss, but maximum security. Zero risk. Path 2. Path 3, start a small business, rent the net out to the others. Charge half a fish per Dalton Y as a rental fee. Income without labor, the classic make your money work for you. Path 4, highest risk, highest potential reward. Lend 2 fish to Baker and Charlie. If they honor the deal, Abel gets back 4 fish. But if they default, then it is a total loss. Save it, spend it, lend it, invest it, or mix and match. The specific choice depends on each person's appetite for risk and reward. Some people are naturally conservative and would rather stash their fish away and eat it slowly. Others are bold enough to bet everything they have for a shot at bigger returns. There is no right answer, but here is the critical point. You need to have that extra fish first before you even get to sit down and choose. In the end, Abel chose to lend the fish out. This decision didn't just grow his own savings. It also gave Baker and Charlie the opportunity to get their own nets and improve their fishing efficiency. One person's delayed consumption and willingness to take risk ended up driving the economic growth of the entire island. And here's the beautiful part. It didn't come at anyone's expense. Baker and Charlie didn't need charity. They didn't need to make sacrifices. They used borrowed capital to boost their own productivity, repaid the loan with the extra fish they caught, and everyone came out ahead. Now let's bring this story into our real lives, because the logic is exactly the same. A bull going hungry to weave a net is like us sacrificing immediate pleasures, saving money instead of spending it, giving up entertainment time to learn a new skill, earn a certification, or read a book that sharpens our thinking. The process isn't easy. It might even be painful. You'll watch people around you shopping, partying, and having fun, while you are buried in books, working overtime, and pinching pennies. But that stretch of time where you are gritting your teeth and pushing through, that is you weaving your net. Once your net is ready, your skills have leveled up, your abilities have grown, your income has increased. You finally have that extra fish. Only then do you get to think about what to do with it. Save it for emergencies, invest it, lend it out for interest, or just treat yourself. Before that, when you are still in the catch one fish, eat one fish's stage, all of those options are nothing but fantasy. This actually reveals a truth that many people don't want to face. The starting point of wealth isn't earning more. It is spending less. First comes savings, then comes capital. First comes capital. First comes investment, then comes passive income. And the first link in that chain is always the same: resist the urge to spend. And wanting more, that is hardwired into our DNA. We always want more. Not necessarily more stuff, but maybe more time, more freedom, more choices. But all of that more ultimately requires one thing to sustain it: you have to create value beyond what basic survival demands before you can pursue anything beyond survival. So the question comes back to you. Where are you in this story right now? Still catching fish bare-handed and barely getting by? Already going hungry while you weave your own net? Or have you already got that extra fish and you are figuring out what to do? The brilliance of how an economy grows and why it crashes is that it takes a story that starts with 3 guys on an island and scales it all the way up to an entire nation, walking you through how an economy launches, booms, and eventually busts. No charts, no formulas, no mind-numbing academic jargon. Just one vivid story after another, making you understand concepts that normally sound impossibly complex. People joke that what 3 years of economics classes couldn't teach them, this book explains in a single afternoon. Whether you are 9 or 90, you can read it and you'll get it. Here's the last question I want to leave you with. If you suddenly had one extra, lend it out or invest it? Your answer might just determine where your life is headed over the next 10 years. If you found this kind of financial topic interesting or valuable, hit that subscribe button. We'll keep breaking these ideas down together, turning book smarts into real wealth, one video at a time. See you in the next